Hey folks, this is Mossies here letting you know to check out ZeldaDungeon.net for all your Zelda needs. Tips, tricks, walkthroughs, reviews, and so much more. And don't forget to check out GenGame.net for news, previews, discussions, and more. Check out all our Dungeon Gaming Network sites for all your gaming needs. Now enjoy the show.
Hello and welcome once again to the Forward Compatible Podcast. This is episode 63, part 1 for April 21st, 2013. My name's Tony and I'm joined as always by my fellow podcasters Jason and Mark.
Yay!
Meh.
Boo!
Yeah.
One's so happy and one's so sad.
One's got to be at work in like 3
One's
hours.
off of work. One's asleep.
So how was your gentleman's week?
I want to sleep.
I've been working.
Yeah, I've been working too.
Yeah, me too. It's been far too much. Nothing interesting happened.
My game missed beta.
Missed?
Yeah, we didn't get far enough along to consider it beta.
Oh,
we
you
had
missed a
beta this
milestone.
week. Yeah, we did. We're basically gonna do it this week.
Lost your funding.
I think what is it? The last
You're getting fired after
2
production.
weeks, we kind of fell behind after GDC. Everyone just kind of like.
Everybody gave up?
Oh, it's just like, I mean, that was like the biggest showing our game's ever gonna get. So it's just like, hey, yeah. But yeah, so like Saturday, Sunday, it's been great because I'm the lead lighter, and I've been doing light bakes. So I think I've put in like 10 hours over 2 days, and I haven't been home for more than
11 hours?
I know. I was gonna say no. I haven't been home since Friday for about an hour and a half. I think like that's the most I've been home, and I put in 10 hours of work, and I just been clicking a button every time I go home for 10 minutes.
I've been working.
All right.
Look at that.
Well, I suppose we can hop into our weekly roundtable and catch everybody up on what we've been playing since the last time we all spoke.
Yes, we will, and I'm not going to stall while I totally look that up currently, which is right. Yeah. I would never do that, of course.
No,
So,
nobody thought you would.
Yeah, so what I did this week, I actually jumped into Halo 4, because I'm actually only on chapter 2 or 3 of that game.
You silly bastard.
I know, so I jumped ahead a little bit. I finally started to fight the other guy. It's so weird fighting a different enemy in that game that isn't the Flood or the other dudes. My brain's fried. Don't worry about it.
Mm-hmm.
So that was weird because I'm at the part where you just started fighting the guys, the new guys, the bad guys. They're old or something.
They're old or something.
Yeah. But anyway, so it's just weird fighting them in Halo. I did Borderlands 2. Apparently I played 5 hours of that this week. And I did Bioshock. And Bad Block Theater. I forgot about that. Anyway, and I jumped into Star Drive Beta. If you guys like 4X games, which is like Explore, Exterminate, X something. Anyway, if you like games like that, it's
forgetful today.
Yeah.
I told you he was baking earlier.
Nice.
Yeah.
We know what kind of baking he was doing.
Brownies. Anyway, so I did that, and I think that's about it for the most part. It was a short week for me. I can't wait. Like 4 more weeks, I'm gonna have like 40-hour weeks of gaming for like a month, and then I'll go out and be a real person again.
That's my winter. I love it. Just sit around and play video games all winter.
Jason,
I've been doing a lot of Injustice.
how you like it?
I love it. I beat the story on the console version.
A lot of people already beat it already. How short was it?
It's like
I knew it was like the how
5-6 hours probably.
yeah.
Right?
I mean, it's like Mortal Kombat. You know, the story. It's definitely worth playing through though. And now I'm going through and playing through all the different characters to see their endings and doing the Star Lab missions. But what I've been doing more than playing the console version is playing the iOS version to try to unlock stuff for the console version, which is actually pretty badass. And for being a free game, you know, one of those where they kind of want you to spend microtransactions, you don't necessarily have to. There's a starter pack for $5. That's totally worth picking up. So that's all I've bought in that game was the starter pack. And I'm currently on like level 20, 21, something like that. My characters. So
what did it go up to?
I have no idea. At least 100.
At least.
But I just got Superman.
Can you do multiplayer in that, by the way?
No.
No. That'd be kind of cool.
It's very much kind of like a Infinity Blade where you just repeat the same missions over and over. It's a grind, you know. But when you're got nothing to do at 3:00 in the morning,
Everything plays really well.
Yeah, it's solid. I mean, it's not something that you can sit there and invest 3 or 4 hours into at a time, but
Yeah.
you can play for 20, 30 minutes, and then let your characters
Yeah.
recharge, go about your day, and come back to it. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, fucking A. As for myself,
Injustice!
yeah. I played a bit more Guacamelee. I actually got stuck.
Wow, we haven't been playing that.
Huh?
We haven't been playing that. The show is unplanned.
Yeah, me and
And
Mark,
that still
are
happens.
usually in unison. It's pretty creepy.
We had one actually last week too. Me and Jason were.
Yeah,
We already did this at the beginning of episode 2.
Oh, that's right. Aside from that, I played a little bit more Plants vs Zombies. I think I almost beat if I remember correctly, I almost beat the game on my Vita now.
I was gonna say if you were on the roof last week, so once after the roof you're done.
There's only like three or
Yeah.
4 more plants to unlock, so I'm pretty close to the end of the game.
You can play it again because then you have the snow. I forget. It's like a God. Yeah, I'm not talking very well. The snow guys.
You're awful today, dude.
The snow guys who
Zombie
man.
Yeti.
Zombie Yeti. Yeah.
I wasn't helping with the Halo ones either. I was just sitting there looking at him, watching him struggle like a fish out of water.
We're talking to a Yeti right now anyway, and I couldn't fucking remember it.
Aside from that, the PS3, I was playing a bit of the Sly Cooper 2. I'm trying to get the platinum in that so I can move on and get the platinum in
Fix
Sly
my brain.
Cooper 3.
It's not working today.
And on the Xbox, I was doing a bit of the BioShock Infinite, but
I'll give you
not
candy.
as many hours as I wanted to put into that game. I've been trickling away at it, but I would have expected myself to have it beaten by now, and I do not.
Disappointed.
No, I'm spending too much.
Disappointed!
I'm spending too much time. Like
Downvote.
I'm ending that game.
Just jumping in a corner and spinning 3 times?
I'm checking every little nook and cranny of every little thing for. I'm searching every barrel for money. I don't know. I'm hitting up everything looking for the voxophones.
Voxophones. It's really good.
So, I think if I would have just ran around and shot people, I probably would have been done with the game by now.
It's
But
32 chapters, I think.
It's
It's like 32 chapters.
I'm probably not even halfway through because I'm sitting there
Yeah.
spending
no,
so
like
much time doing stuff.
8 or 9.
And I'm still sitting to try to beat on like a media blackout because I heard the endings like
amazing.
crazy and twisted and
Yeah.
awesome. And I'm trying to stay. That's why I rushed through Halo 4 so nobody fucking ruined it for me.
Yeah.
And I thought I would have had Infinite done by now, but I don't. So.
Yeah, that's why I'm trying to finish it off because I waited too long in Halo 4 and I already know the ending of that. Let's see. News. All right, so let's go on our weekly bash to start this section off. This is an actual forward compatible special. We get to bash on 2 of our favorite things. One for me being the Wii U. I think out of 4 of the last 5 weeks, I've probably bashed on the Wii U 4 of the 5.
Yeah.
And Tony's favorite, Pac-Na.
Nice.
Yes.
Love that. Love hating that guy.
But sadly, he's kind of, I think, right a little bit. His 1 out of 20 correct thing is probably this one. Anywho, Packner says that even with a price cut, it's not going to help the Wii U.
Bullshit.
Fairly, well, he goes on to explain it more where I'm like, God damn, he's kind of right. If
I saw
anything.
this packet.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
All right. So February barely beat January's numbers by only another 9,000. So it brought it to like 64,000 units in February. He states that gamers are far more likely to turn their attention to the PS4 and the Xbox, mostly due to an insignificant number of core titles that the Wii U isn't offering yet. And on top of that, he says if Sony and Microsoft decide to sell their next-gen platforms on a competitive price level with the Wii U, it would spell further trouble for Nintendo. Even using the word stagnate their sales, even more so than I guess it already is. Which for 1 out of 20, I agree with Packner, I think.
I mean, the Wii U debacle, if you will, is kind of interesting. I mean, it's becoming more and more apparent as the days go by that the third parties are not very interested. The ones that will trickle out are ones that are too far along in development already to just pull the plug and lose all that money you invested. But I think for future titles, it's going the way that the Wii did versus the Xbox 360 and PS3, where they didn't see very many games that the other consoles got. I think he's kind of right with the price drop. But what would help is a price drop alongside a couple key titles. they don't need much. I know a lot of people are just waiting for a Zelda game to come out.
Yeah.
And that alone would sell a bunch of Wii U's. And you got to get some kind of 3D gaming Mario out there. And, along with Pikmin, which I don't really think is a system seller per se.
No, I don't think so.
And a couple other
for
ones.
a few people, but not the majority.
Yeah, I don't really think like Mario Kart is a system seller. But
great
once you get those two, plus the 2 or 3 great titles that are on the Wii U currently, plus an actual system seller like a 3D Mario and a Zelda, you got 5 or 6 games to get, plus a price drop, and that makes it a worthy investment.
Do you even think that Mario's a system seller at this point? Because
Yes.
it did launch with the Mario game, and since then it really hasn't done much more.
That's another thing I wanted to get into. It was too close together to the other Mario. What if that same side-scrolling bad your inability to talk is wearing off on me now.
I gave it to you. It's kind of like an
it's
STD.
contagious. One had just released 3 months prior or so. I might be
the
off a
one
little on the
with
dates.
3DS,
On the 3DS,
right? Yeah.
which is a far bigger install base. Most people that were starved for a new Mario game went and picked that up. So I think that's why the one on the Wii U didn't exactly,
It didn't sell like a
increase
Mario
it.
game would.
I think there's one thing that he's overlooking slightly, and that's it's the end of winter, beginning of spring. Nothing sells at that time.
The 360,
Well, I mean, the 360
sold
sold
almost
300,000.
300,000 still.
I'm saying
PS3,
historically,
That's like 6 times Wii U numbers.
Historically,
Yeah, PS3 was about the same too.
historically with a new console, you
Yeah.
don't see a lot of units because that launch window always has a gap. It's happened with every major console.
The regular Wii did have that during the summer, but it took all the way till the summer for that to actually be regularly in stock.
I really can't. I can't base my information on what happened with the Wii U because with the Wii, with the Wii,
no,
because
it's
the
hard
Wii was a
because
very
an anomaly.
No,
it was very specific with what happened with that. But also too, I mean, the thing that kind of gets me, and I currently don't have a Wii U, but I still consider myself a Nintendo fan. Is Nintendo? They've always been a little bit behind the curve for the most part since Sega.
Or even the NES was pretty, the Super NES was on par with the Genesis.
Okay, but I mean after that,
They already started.
they exactly. They've been around as a video game company for over 25 years. They're not idiots. They know when to announce their big titles and they know when to make the right moves. They haven't had the tech savvy portion of it. They don't necessarily have their finger on the pulse, but they do have a good business strategy for the most part. And they'll be all right. They survived the phenomenon that was PlayStation 2 with a GameCube.
Yeah.
Barely, but they still survived that.
No,
So-
Nintendo is definitely going to be around
exactly.
for a long time.
So, I mean, you price drop anything and people are going to jump on board. I remember when I was working at GameStop and the 3DS came out and the price point that it was at, and everybody's like, no, this thing's stupid. Nobody wants one. Now, how much is it selling? They
$70 price drop.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then they started hitting it with the big titles.
Yeah.
So they have a strategy and they follow the same trends over and over with every different console they come out with. This is nothing new.
Yeah.
It's quiet. The system kind of falls flat. I agree with you about the third party support. But then again,
They don't need it.
I don't go to a Nintendo product going, I want to play Call of Duty on my,
Yeah, no, that's definitely not it.
No, I want to play Mario. I want to play Zelda. For me, Mario Kart, things like that. Those Smash Brothers. Those games is why I buy the console for. 4 or 5 core install based games, and then I'll try a couple of other unique titles.
Mm-hmm. I definitely think that it is they waited way too long to implement like a second big system seller though.
Another thing is, because, I mean, the Wii U has a clear lack of advertising behind it, right?
Yeah.
Which I think Nintendo knows, and I think I heard a theory from somebody. I forgot who it was, and I'm not trying to plagiarize or anything. It's just I remember it, and it kind of struck a chord with me that they may be doing this on purpose because the Wii U currently has quite a bit of bugs to work out. Not everything's working quite properly yet. There's still, atrocious loading screens. The online infrastructure is pretty new, and they may not really put the whole marketing machine behind it, until a firmware update or two comes out. That kind of cleans up the interface, and then when it's because they might be worried that if they go sell 20 or 30 or 40 million of these before the end of the year, you're gonna have a lot of people that pick it up are confused by the day one update that takes up half your hard drive and all this other stuff, and it still doesn't work quite right. And they might be upset, and it might turn them off from buying future Nintendo software. So they may be waiting till maybe they had to rush the Wii U out to beat the PS4 and the 720, and because of it, they got to clean everything up now since it's out. And once all that's sorted out, then they'll put the marketing machine behind it, and then maybe they'll turn it around.
You know, one of the big things with the past few years of the Nintendo Wii, when people always would come in and ask me to compare the systems, I got that. I'm sure you gentlemen
I get it all the
time.
All the time.
I always said that for me, it was a nice secondary system to have. You know, you have your main gaming console, your PlayStation or your Xbox, whatever the case may be.
PC.
Console. Because if you're coming to GameStop, you don't play PC games.
Yeah.
Realistically, you buy your
my
shit. You
Steam
buy your shit
card.
online.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, so it's always made a good secondary console. It's one of those. That's how it's been for years with Nintendo, though, because you have, again, like I said, you have your 5 to 10 core franchises that you have to get to play on that if you were a Nintendo fan. And then everything else, you know, okay, maybe they'll remake Resident Evil or something cool will come along every couple of years that you pick up.
Yeah, they'll throw in like a Xenoblade clone, Xenoblade.
Realistically, all Nintendo has to do is release their entire back catalog on a Wii U, and it'll sell. Put everything out on the Virtual Console, day one, boom, there it is. Flip the switch, everything's on. I'm buying one just for nostalgia.
They'll bring in a ton of money
Yeah.
because of all the old school games.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's realistically, that's all they have to do to stay relevant. They can have, outdated hardware and maybe not have the marketing edge, but doing that, they'd be relevant again.
The 3DS is miles behind the Vita, and that thing fucking prints money.
We'll get to that a little bit later.
So, to transition into the new school, Nintendo announced a new Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past 2.
Unofficial title.
Yeah, basically. A new Yoshi's Island, a new Mario and Luigi, a new Mario Party, and a Donkey Kong, now made easier.
The only two I'm really interested in is Donkey Kong, which looks cool, and of course the new Zelda.
What about Mario Party?
No. Have you ever played any of the Mario and Luigi games? The Superstar Sagas or
RPGs.
anything like that?
No.
You have to try one.
Okay.
I'm telling you, when I look at ranking my Mario games, when you have your 3D worlds, your 2D, and then your adventure style game, I always that adventure style game, it's 3D, adventure, and then 2D for me.
Oh, really?
Yes, I love these games. That Fawful, the guy who was in our tournament and didn't make it anywhere, he's from Mario and Luigi. These
Falafel?
games, Fawful.
Falafel. Yeah, I got it. I love falafels.
The
They're
Bowser's
delicious.
Inside Story
Yeah,
on the
bad
DS, phenomenal, excellent game. If anything, pick that one up when you buy your 3DS, because like me, you're going to get one now.
Yeah.
Because just like with the Wii, they're
And then
releasing
you're gonna get
things,
Fire Emblem.
They're releasing things that appeal to us.
You get Fire Emblem,
I'm
damn
not
it.
buying Fire
you
Emblem.
fucker, I'm gonna make you
No.
download it.
I'm going to tell you what I'm going to get right off the bat. I'm getting Ocarina 3D. I'm getting Link to the Past 2. I'm getting Oracle Season of the Oracle Ages, Pokemon, Donkey
X or
Kong,
Y. Fire Emblem.
the Mario and Luigi games, and Mario Kart.
You have. I'm gonna make you play my Fire Emblem.
I played
You-
Fire Emblem. I don't care for it.
I'll
I
take your
hate
list.
everything.
I'll take your list minus Pokemon for me, and add New Super Mario Brothers
I'll play that too. But I mean, that would probably be like a pre-owned cheapo.
or New Super Mario Brothers 2.
Yeah, that would be.
Or the 3D Land one looked cool.
I want to
too.
play that one too.
What about Sticker Star?
I'll play it. The paper.
Yeah, the Paper Mario.
I loved Paper Mario also. So, but totally, this is exactly what we were just talking about. If the Wii U can catch up to what the 3DS is doing now,
You just need that one game to pull them in with the console. Then they'll go back to your back catalog,
exactly.
and you'll reach more software.
And that's
sales.
what, like me, I've been waiting for. I got rid of my DSi the day that I got my iPhone. I didn't need it anymore. I had played all the relevant games at that point. Now we're 4 or 5 years later. Now I can go back and there's this entire catalog, which is on the cheap end, for me to
That's the brilliant thing of adapting late. You get to go back. You get to pick and choose your classics, and they're going to be dirt cheap, $10-15 for most.
Now
of these
let me
games.
ask you: are you going 3DS or 3DS XL?
If I bite, I haven't decided if I'm going to yet. I'm eventually going to get one, but if I bite, it's probably going to be the XL.
I'm going XL based on Moss's recommendation.
Yeah, but I still don't know if I'm going to get one right when the way it is, because I'm slammed. I mean, we covered this with too much media, and in the fall, my primary money is going to be going to getting the 720 and the PS4. Also, a bunch of games for them, and I'm probably going to be pretty invested in those consoles. And since the new Zelda's coming out in the fall, it may not be till March or April before I even get around to it. So
I got a birthday in July.
So okay, there you go. But by then, who knows? The 3DS XL may see a price cut. Then to pick one up pre-owned, because Nintendo stuff's really strong and durable, that you could pick one up without too much worry pre-owned, and then I could go grab one of those, and maybe I could score one for around $100, and then you got yourself a deal.
Let me ask you one.
Right now, 200's too much to play one game.
One other question: 3D on or 3D off?
Off. My 3D has gone on from to me seeing it being
Completely off.
That's it.
Off. Just
Mine's
100%
completely
of the
off.
time.
Yeah.
100% of the time.
Just had to throw that out there since we're talking about it. But I mean, these two stories go hand in hand. Nintendo is doing everything right with the 3DS. They need to learn from their own business model for their handhelds for their console.
Do you think if they would have waited to launch the Wii U maybe this summer would have been a lot better for them?
No. Unfortunately,
Just to say that they had more titles
They were stuck in
closer.
a really bad position with coming off the mainstream success of the Wii.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and barreling into the next gen generation.
Current gen?
No, the next gen, the PS4 and
720.
Yeah. So they only had, and they knew that they had an inferior product, and that they would take years for them to develop something on par. So they had to go that.
That's why I think, this is just personal opinion, why the Wii U is struggling. For the power it has, it came out too late, or they should have waited a year and actually put some muscle behind it.
That's what I was
If
hoping
they
for.
wanted
That's why
it to
they're
be-
on par with current gen.
Yeah, if they wanted to be this powerful, what the Wii U does, they're a year and a half, 2 years too late.
Yeah.
You could have came out in 2011. People would have been, because back then the whispers were barely around for PS4 and 720.
Yeah.
So people would have just been clamoring for a new system. They would have been a little happier because you caught up to the 360 and the PS3 graphically and power-wise a little sooner. And I think you would have had a lot more adopters. But you're trying to market to the core, even they said it, that they want to start infiltrating the PS3 and 360 market share. And you're not going to do that by coming out with an inferior product 1 year before those consoles come out and totally smash you again. It's just, you're not going to have
I always think it's so interesting for Nintendo because they cover both ends of the spectrum. They've got, I mean, granted, there's only one other real quote-unquote handheld available, but they are dominating handheld, but so far behind in console. Mm-hmm. You know, they need to get on the same page. They really do.
Yeah. It's interesting. That was only the first story, wasn't it?
It's two.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I got
okay.
3 left.
News!
The long-delayed XCOM shooter had its website and videos actually pulled this week by 2K. Apparently, there was a survey that was sent out to some of the long-standing XCOM fans, asking them would they like the new XCOM to be a third-person digital download that would have had a lower price tag on it. That wasn't confirmed as like the reason it was pulled, but currently their website is down for it.
Wait, didn't they just come out with a new XCOM?
XCOM is a really weird series. It's been almost every genre. XCOM, yes, did come out 2012, later part of it.
It was like a holiday release, wasn't it?
Yeah, around there, yeah. And then,
Isometric RTS top-down.
yeah, basically, yeah. And
the
then,
traditional style.
Yeah. But I mean, they've had a flights combat game. They've had its shooters. It's really weird. So this one was supposed to come out. You've probably seen it from GameStop. In our system, we had 2 XCOM games for the longest time last year. This is the one that was supposed to be a third-person shooter. Showed it at E3, last year, whatever. And they just kind of have not updated it in months and kind of fall into that developer hell. And there's not much going on with it.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see what comes of it. I mean, I'm not the biggest XCOM fan, not because I don't enjoy them, but because
They're so old.
I've never played them.
Yeah, I know. I mean, they came out.
I played
in
one or two.
80s.
Yeah, I played one or two of the really old ones. It's just for me, it's a forgotten series, unfortunately. And,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely think it would have gotten a lot more purchases after the success of the Enemy Unknown. They even had like gameplay trailer. I mean, gameplay levels and stuff that they were showing off last year. And I'm not exactly sure what happened with it. It's kind of dead in the water at this point. So.
Oh, fucking A.
Yep. Anywho, next story. The Ouya has 10,000 developers with it currently, actually.
Yeah.
And with companies like Square Enix, Double Fine, and Tripwire currently.
Yeah, I heard about this week as well. That's pretty impressive numbers. I know a majority of them, like the company,
2 people.
Yeah, the companies you just named are the biggest of the big that are supporting it. This thing, it's going to be interesting to see what it does. Unfortunately, I think this thing's going to be huge on like the Ouya 3 or the Ouya 4.
Possibly.
The first one, I mean, I think they kind of shot themselves in the foot by announcing that they're already working on the Ouya 2. It's like the Ouya 1's not even out yet.
Yeah.
And I understand why they're doing it, to keep costs as low as possible.
Yeah.
You're going to release the new tech a year or two after it comes out. Like, the Ouya 2 is already supposed to have the Tegra 5 in it? Or the Tegra... Because it says the Tegra 3.
I guess
the Tegra 4.
Tegra 4, yeah. Tegra 5 is out.
That's like the best processor in a phone.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, I mean, literally, the Tegra 4 is barely behind some of the i7s and laptops. Actually, some laptops run off of the Tegras. What's up?
I was reading an article about the Ouya. It is the 78th fastest Android device on the market.
Nice.
There you go. Not too shabby.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Don't mind me, I'm eating dinner.
I am a little bit mad about Square Enix being one of the top ones on there, because I just think they're going to do what they've done with the...
Just going to re-release Final Fantasy.
Final Fantasy for $5, and then you have the DLC that leads up to being a $150 game or whatever it was.
Well, I mean, this could still be really cool. I mean, the price, the entry point is so low.
You can't
It's
really...
$100. 50 of which covers the controller.
Yeah.
So you're literally spending $50 on a console. I mean, if they don't need much to become profitable. You put out a few cool games that'll make people want to invest in $50.
Yeah, and they've already shown off some cool, unique ones that are only releasing on that for launch. At least.
You turn it into an emulator powerhouse, a media center, if you will, if it's got a few USB inputs. And you could plug in a 2 terabyte hard drive that plays all your movie collections from a console controller on your bed. People eat that shit up, and they could play it on the big screen through an HDMI port. You know, it could turn into something that is really... Jesus Christ, everybody's left me.
Go ahead, I'm listening. I'm just eating.
Yeah, Jason left to eat dinner. Mark got a phone call.
Jason's got to go to work right after we record.
So I'm talking to myself about the... Ooh, yeah. Hi, Jason.
Hi. I'm eating a potato. I apologize. Again, it's just I have to leave for work right after.
Yeah. Anyway, the Ouya is going to be pretty interesting. Should I read Mark's next story? I don't have much more to say about the Ouya.
Are you still planning on buying one? Or are you not waiting?
I don't know. It's worrisome because... when it first got announced, again, we didn't have any concrete info on the PS4 or the 720. We know now that those two consoles are coming out in the fall. And I'm assuming they're going to be about $500 each. I'm going to grab them both. And
G-Note!
Yeah, and a few software titles and an extra controller here and there later. And you're looking at, $1,200-$1,300 that I got to invest in the fall.
Easily.
So, it's just to get started. So, I mean, I'm going to be so busy playing those. It's the same reason I don't think I'm going to jump on a 3DS just because Zelda got announced. It's just, my time will be better spent elsewhere, I think, in the fall. And eventually, it might seem like a better deal. But then again, if the Ouya comes out in the next 2 or 3 months, I know people that pre-bought it already have it, but it's technically not available for sale on store shelves yet.
I know Bird's still waiting for his.
Yeah. So, I mean, you're talking 1 year later if they're already releasing the Ouya 2, and I wait 6 months into the Ouya 1's life cycle just to pick it up. it kind of seems like a waste, like buying something at the end of its run. So,
I
What if
bet.
it's like $20?
well, of course I'd pick it up for $20.
Right. My girlfriend had her car broken yesterday, so she finally got back to me. So, anywho, are we moving on? Yeah.
Moving on.
Moving on.
Finished my steak and potatoes.
That looked delicious. I wanted some steak and potatoes. Never mind, I won't ask. Anyway, Razer is honoring an unauthorized 90% off coupon that went out. The CEO said that legally they could cancel the orders, but they won't because of its long-standing customer policy of, or is a long-standing consumer first policy is what they call it. Anyway, Razer expects to see insane losses this next month. Especially due to the fact that a lot of people who use these coupons use it on items that were back ordered already. So literally, they said it will take weeks to even months to fill all of the orders.
I think they did it on purpose.
What do you mean, like release the coupon?
Yeah.
That's a lot of money to lose on there because I mean they have some stuff that costs like over $100.
Okay. We're quote unquote hardcore gamers. We're familiar with the Razer brand and everything.
Yeah.
General public isn't, for the most part, you know. They just look at it and they go, okay, it's a controller. You know, it's cheaper than or more expensive than whatever.
I mean they have some really nice stuff too.
How much money do you think Razer spends on marketing?
Oh, next to none.
Okay, well, that's my whole point, is instead of actually spending money on marketing and commercials and advertisements, one of the best marketing tools is word of mouth. If you put out a coupon out there for 90% off, you're going to generate people to your website, and then they're going to get the product in their hand, and then they're going to be able to tell everybody, oh, hey, I got this for super cheap, and it's actually really damn good.
Yeah, I mean, I used to have a Razer keyboard back in the day, and I really liked it. That you got a Razer mouse right there,
Chicago.
actually. Yeah, I mean, they do have a lot of good stuff. So I mean, it is one of those companies I look to.
I think
Logitech.
With the cynical part of me,
They're better Mad Cats.
Yeah, but I always think Mad Cats is kind of crap. I think they're way better than Mad Cats. But that's just me because I have very poor opinion of Mad Cats.
again, the cynical side of me thinks of it as a great viral marketing ploy.
Fucking A.
It's probably not. They probably like, fuck!
Fuck, who put that out
That's
there?
probably because I think
it
you
could
could
have been Reddit.
From what you're saying, I think the same effect could have been achieved by doing like 40% off or 50% off, which is still an insane
Yeah,
sale.
but then coming out and say, hey, we're going to honor this 90% off coupon. Look how awesome we are.
90%. I mean, you're not you can't you got to be. Not only are you not making money, you got to like it has to cost if it's $100 thing.
Yeah.
It had to cost $15 to put it together.
Yeah.
And now you're selling it for 10.
Yeah,
So like,
yeah. So I mean,
I don't entirely disagree, but again, I've seen some similar marketing ploys from people personally where, you know, they've done stuff like that. And that's how you get word of mouth. That's how you generate interest. That's how you show that you have a good brand.
yeah.
You know, people are going to forget that you fucked up on a 90% off coupon.
But well, see, that's the other thing is that like Reddit and 4chan have dedicated channels to people making forges of them. So like it could possibly be that it was that just somehow got through.
It's possible.
Like I know personal friends who use the $100 off on the Vita.
Yeah.
I mean, like stuff like that. I mean, there's dedicated people who make coupons to screw you over, which potentially could be what it was as well.
Yeah.
fucking A.
You got anything else to add?
No, I was just gonna say. I'm kind of on board with what Jason's saying. I mean, we weren't gonna talk about Razer unless this happened, and now look, they got 3 of us sitting around this microphone talking to the 100 or so of you about
Yeah.
this, and now you got 100 more people hearing about Razer, looking it up online.
I think
You're
we should
cro-
ask
you're-
for money from Razer.
You're crossing the advertisements that are more than likely on
I
Razer's
think
website.
Jason needs a nice Razer computer now. I really think that Razer
Hey.
probably just made hundreds of dollars.
They want to give me one for free. I'll take it.
I'll take a hand job.
That's all he wants.
Oh, I
Free.
mean, yeah,
And,
computer parts.
Hard drives.
Yeah,
Hard. Almost like dick.
yeah, manly stuff, football,
Mainly football, baseball,
Yeah.
Where are we at?
breasts.
naked wrestling. Last story. EA is kind of going through a weird period currently. If you've been reading the news, they had a few layoffs. I know what they're like. Was it the QA departments, their IT departments? There's a few layoffs at studios, and this week they actually announced they're closing all of their Sims Facebook games. EA.
That's surprising because SimCity Social actually did pretty good.
Yeah, I know. That's what they're doing. There are 3 Sims games on Facebook. They're closing all of them June 14th, I believe.
I think it's starting to show that the oversaturation on those type mobile games is kind of finally catching up, where it's not the gold mine it was 3 years ago, where you could just rush in and make a gazillion dollars. There's just too many games available for free.
Sim Social was doing well, though, I know.
Yeah, it was one of the higher ranked ones. And it's not even a mobile game.
It was.
You have to log into Facebook on the computer to play that.
Was. No, not anymore. So you're going to be closing Visions.
FaceTime. What?
Shut your whore mouth.
Naked wrestling.
Yeah. Football.
Injustice!
Breasts.
David!
All right, that brings us to our next section. All right. Yeah.
The Gmail.
That's not
Gmail.
No.
I can sing better if you want. Gmail.
Ready?
Gmail.
Excuse me. Sorry.
Yeah, and he apologized for that when we were just dicks for 45 seconds.
Stoked asked. He said, "What's your favorite angry video game nerd episode?" His is Plumbers Don't Wear Ties episode.
Mine personally, oh man, I love that guy. He's got so many great ones. It's either got to be the I think it's is it the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles arcade game, the one where there's the underwater level that you always get shocked on?
No, that is not the arcade game. That's the original NES game.
That's what I was. That's
the
what I
jam
meant.
level,
No,
yeah.
but it's okay.
It's not arcade.
That's the one I'm talking
Arcade
about.
is a
So
separate one.
that review is hysterical. I also loved I think it was Friday the 13th, but it might have been Nightmare on Elm Street.
Took mine.
That one's awesome, where he's got his buddy that comes in the background dressed up in him and he gets murdered.
He took mine.
That was a good
he
one,
took
too.
mine.
I don't watch
okay.
YouTube videos.
He's
I've only
funny.
seen
You'd
a
get
handful
into
of
it.
his.
He's good.
I'm sure I've probably seen him, but I mean, I don't subscribe to anybody or anything like
I'm
that.
subscribed to like 40 people.
You out there should subscribe to the Forward Compatible channel.
Yeah,
haven't
well, I'm subscribed to that one. I mean, shit. I mean, come on. But surprising with me being the quote unquote social media ambassador for us, I don't watch that stuff, man. I mean, it's again.
I'm on YouTube all day.
It's not that I don't
I'm on
find it
YouTube all day, too.
entertaining. YouTube is not a integral part of my life where I go to it.
It's like better than TV for me right now. I mean, I don't even use my Netflix as much after I got into a few people on YouTube.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not knocking it. It's just
No, I know.
I usually watch nothing but Discovery Channel.
It's the way of the future. You run into stuff like
Yeah.
us. I mean, we kill a couple hours real quick. You find a few people like our show that you enjoy, and
Sure.
5 hours later, you're like, oh shit, it's bedtime. YouTube can eat up fucking the clock.
It does for me.
I don't doubt it. And
that's just video games. I watch like car racing channels,
porn,
and- not on YouTube.
Porn,
bunch of shit.
Pornhub.
So, yeah.
X-Hamster.
All right, Andrew Dillon.
What's up, Andrew?
He asked, "Is there a character in a game that at the beginning of the story or series that you loved, but by the end you hated?"
Dom.
No, he says besides Dom.
Damn it!
That was my go-to too.
I know. Fuck. Paddock.
You have to say Paddock's better than this one.
Somebody that I loved in the beginning of a series and then hated by the end.
There's one girl in Star Wars Knights of the Republic 2. I don't remember her fucking name, though.
Yeah, that chick.
The old bitch.
It's not can it be a game?
Yeah.
Probably.
I said story or series,
Probably Kat from Halo Reach.
There was that the one with the fucking
Was the only
skull?
chick in the group.
Okay, she wasn't the one with the skull. She's the one that got sniped really quick,
Yeah.
right? Okay.
Spoilers, Jason.
Halo fucking Reach is like 4
Jeez.
years old. Come on.
Spoilers.
We talk
Not
about we talk about video games. It's the same thing like I told you with wrestling. This guy sent me. He tried to troll me about some wrestling shit. I was like, dude, WrestleMania was 2 weeks ago. Get with the times.
Undertaker
It goes
21-0,
quick.
baby.
It goes quick, man.
21-0.
We're on to fandangoing, okay? Okay. So you got to keep moving.
But I kind of dug her at the beginning of the story. She went out like a little bitch, though. Not in a that way, just like,
In what way?
I don't know how to explain it.
She got fucking sniped, bro. I mean, she went out like she went out like Mace Windu. Okay. Like he was badass, and then he gets like blown out a window.
I got my character.
She was starting to get really lame by the end of Reach. Or not by the end, but the end of
first
her
45
life.
minutes?
The end of her life. She was getting really fucking annoying.
By the end of episode 3, I hated Vader.
What?
I I should have planned for this better. I really can't think. Besides literally Dom, I couldn't stand him.
No cop-out.
But I really didn't care for Axton in Borderlands 2. Like, when he got shot, that was supposed to be like the moment. I was like, yeah, take that, fucker.
Borderlands 2 in general, as much as they tried to make a better story and make it more emotional, I don't know. I think it fell really flat. That whole game, I just did not get as hooked as I was to Borderlands 1.
You know,
I'm hooked right now. So.
Another one that I'll go with is Catwoman from Arkham City. I was kind of cool playing as her as first, and then it just got like super repetitive and super like.
Did you leave?
Anymore.
Did you at the end of that game? Did you leave with her?
I tried to.
I did too. And
it's like it fucking won't let me.
And then you start, and then the game rewinds. It's awesome. I was like, well,
any game that allows you to play the character kind of the way you want, and then takes that final decision away from you, I really don't care for.
Yeah,
that's happened quite a bit, and I know that All right, Andrew actually had a question from last week that I missed. I apologize. It was a super busy week.
You suck, Jason.
You suck so much.
He asked, what is the first game that you remember playing as a kid?
NHL PA 93. Not even kidding. Is there that or Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Hyperstone Heist?
It's probably, for me, it's probably incorrect, but my first memory was probably Atlantis on the Atari, what was it, the 56? No, the 2800. Right?
2600?
2600, excuse me. On the 2600, my uncle handed it down to me when he found out that I got into video games because he grew up in the 70s and 80s.
Yeah, obviously that's not an incorrect memory because if he got into video games, I would have given it to him.
Yeah.
That's why I don't remember anything. But because I remember I got pretty much my NES and my Atari 2600 within months of each other. I think I actually got my NES first, and then because of that, my uncle handed me down his Atari 2600.
Yeah.
But for some reason, that's my first memory playing a video game.
Yeah.
I know that I played before that, but I can't recall any specific games. But my first video game memory is literally, and I've mentioned it before, is the Sesame Street game on NES. Like Elmo's Number Journey and like fucking the Count's magical top hat or whatever the fuck it was. Yeah. That's literally like my earliest video game memory.
There's also a slight chance mine was Tetris on the original Game Boy. There's a slight chance it could have been because my mom had one. So it's just one of those I can't remember that far back.
All right. Where are we at? Speaking of Gabe Bustos asked. He said, "What is the best video game music?"
Tetris.
Yeah,
Tetris is it's probably the top 5 video game.
Yeah, I think so.
Songs ever.
Yeah.
Along with that, probably Mega Man 2, the original Legend of Zelda.
I gotta go. Yeah, I gotta agree with Zelda.
I think World 1 Part 2 of Super Mario Brothers is really cool when you drop down into the cave or whatever the fuck it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one.
See, now, even though I wasn't a Sega player, I have to say Green Hill Zone is up there too for Sonic.
Sonic had a lot of great tunes.
Not to completely dodge your question, but we've got a new concept for our 8-bit game of the week, and it's going to basically be, we're going to pick some of our favorite old school games, songs, and play them for you, and you guys are going to have to guess what it is. So you'll be able to see a bunch of our picks in the next coming weeks and months.
Oh, I got a good one. I found that one.
This was old ones, right? Because some of the newer ones would be like Halo.
Yeah, well, no, he just said in general. I mean, obviously, yes, Halo.
Halo would be up there for me.
Halo, I love Return of the Omen from Gears 2.
I love ponies.
What? Donkey Kong Country was another one for me that was very iconic music. I think
Barbie Island.
With as big as music is in games now, for me it's not as iconic as what the classics were, though.
I don't know if that they're truly better music or if it's just nostalgia clouding your judgment.
Well, no, trust me. I was doing some research today about our 8-bit song of the week, and I'm sitting on the bus on the way home from work, jamming to songs. I'm not going to say which ones because we're going to use some
Imagine
of them.
fashion designer
I'm
in New
completely
York.
ignoring him, and he's not. See, I can do this. You can't.
Yeah, Pets Laboratory.
Yeah. Anyways,
You know what? It's kind of reminding me of. Can I Archer segue real quick?
no.
Okay. So there's this episode.
Brendan
of Archer.
Joyce asked.
I want to tell the story.
Do it.
It's just a quick one.
Never a quick.
Anyway, it's the one where Archer is doing the paternity test, and you have Krieger in the background. And after everybody says something, he keeps yelling from the background, "Me too!"
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
It's fucking
So I was
cool.
trying to find the funniest games. Jason will have to go back and hopefully hear all of them. And
It's
laugh.
just like Jason naming something serious, and then you're in the corner like Barbie's Playhouse.
Brendan Joyce asked,
Hello Kitty Island Adventure.
What's up, B?
"What game
What's up,
did you like in the past that you no longer like?"
Trying to think of games I'm going back to.
Um,
Mass Effect 1, that's for sure.
For me, I'm gonna throw out a series, I guess, instead of a specific game, and that would be Fable. I don't. Yeah.
You don't care about going back even?
No.
Even to the first one or second one?
No.
No? Don't
No,
care?
it's kind of. I know I did everything in Fable 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
I have no desire to go back and play them, and just the rest of the series it killed it for me. Same way that you guys talk about Assassin's Creed.
Yep. Done with Assassins. Well, is this you like the early games?
I think
Don't
he's
like
talking
anymore?
about a specific game.
I know, and I'm trying to cop out because I really can't think of any.
Mine would definitely be Assassin's Creed. After Brotherhood, I hated it.
There'd be a lot from the PS1 era that like I probably don't care for anymore, like Battle Arena Toshinden.
Yeah.
What was that one?
It's crap. Plays like crap.
I'm going to go with... Again, you could pretty much utilize almost every game from the Nintendo 64, but I'm going to specifically go with GoldenEye. I remember the countless hours and
I agree
fun
with
that
that
I had
too.
playing that game. And then, honestly, if you think I'm wrong, try to pop it in right now.
Yeah,
and
no,
you'll be
I
like,
completely agree with
You'll be
that.
like, wow, this is bad.
Another
This is not a good game.
Another prime example is I have such nostalgia for the original Resident Evil, and I tried to play that 6 months ago. I couldn't even get the guy to walk forward.
Yeah, that happened with me with Dino Crisis.
Yeah.
I popped that in a little over a year ago because back then the D-pad was like up was to walk forward and left and right were to spin your character around.
And then
to turn your overhead 3. I couldn't control the fucking game.
Yeah.
It was Dino Crisis 1.
I also think it's just because you're so out of practice with that controller, especially with the N64 one, because it's a funky controller.
Yeah, but I could go back and...
Well, you should be able to do it
I
relatively well.
I was
but-
playing Resident Evil on my PS3, and no, couldn't do it.
Yeah.
And since Mark doesn't play any retro games, he has no opinion.
I have Genesis and I have my N64.
Anyways,
Genesis.
Sega!
Metro Android.
What's going on, good sir?
He asked, what do you think modern games do wrong that retro games did right?
Off the top of my head,
There's got to be a lot.
there's a ton.
Yeah.
This is the first thing, and then I'll let you guys have a turn,
Yeah.
and I probably got a bunch more to say.
No, you don't.
The first thing is probably replayability. Modern games are so concerned with adding multiplayer that they forget to make a decent to good to great story. They're so few and far spread in between. There's certain games I don't trade much in anyway, but if you make a great story like the most recent Tomb Raider, I'm not going to trade it in because the story was so compelling that it'll make me want to replay it. Maybe not in the next month, maybe not in the next year, but I want to go back and play that again. And that is something that the older consoles used to do in droves. Like every game, or at least not every game, a fair percentage of the games that came out would come out, and you may not want to play them that day or whatever. I still go back and have NES nights and Sega Genesis nights, and
Somebody was supposed to come over earlier today,
Yeah.
and we were supposed to retro
Like a
game, but
carpool, and then
didn't text me to tell me he wasn't coming.
I woke up a little late.
Then we'll go at 8.
But I mean, I feel like in 3 or 4 more generations, when we look back at this generation, there aren't as many titles that are going to stand out as there were in previous generations, where you're really going to go want to go back and play them because the servers are shut down and the stories as good as they are, some of them, there's just not enough of them that are compelling enough for you to like look back and be like, oh my God, I have to go replay that. I probably have 5 or 6 titles from this generation that really, really are going to stand out in 20 years, the way you look back at the NES and the titles that stood out then.
For me, it would have to be accessibility and simplicity. And what I mean is like, I remember throwing in Legend of Zelda and didn't know what the hell I was doing. But you play it for a good 15 minutes and you start to grasp it and you start to, understand what's going on. Games nowadays with controllers and so on and so forth, they're so complex and they're so...
Did they add things in every hour or so,
yeah,
like a new ability or something?
And it's like, back on the NES days, for the most part, every game, B was your jump button, It was almost universal for how, if you were playing a platformer, you knew which button to push to make the guy jump, Nowadays, with there being 37 different buttons on your controller, it can be mapped to anything. It kind of, when you become so complex, you take away some of that accessibility and that access that you give to people. It's such a learning curve to jump into gaming nowadays, as to where when we were younger, it was easy. You sat down, you died 15, 20 times, but then you learned how to play the game. And that's something for me that I think they kind of need to get back to. Do we? I'm not saying I want a controller with only 2 buttons again, but if I'm playing a platformer on a download title on my 360, do I really need to have access to all the buttons, or can it be that simple again?
Mine would definitely be. It's thanks to online, which I think, and I also think it has some cons with it, is games from my youth were definitely, they had to be made to be played on the exact same screen. So if you wanted a 4-player game, they all had to fit on the exact same screen. And with, I don't know, coming up, I guess, and starting the PS2, and that started coming on, co-op games, they would split the screen. It wasn't all on screen at once. I loved having all 4 people on screen at once, and I also think that games that do co-op that don't have the option for, same screen, I think
Couch
that
co-op, it's missing from a lot of games.
It's missing for a lot of games. Even there's games who are blatantly obviously that were they were made for couch co-op and they didn't have it. So I think that's something that I think kind of got destroyed a little bit.
I thought of another one as we were going around, and that's simply the oversimplification of modern games. And by that I mean, Jason actually started making me jog my thoughts about this. Back then, games were really hard. Really hard. They were for gamers. It took forever, and once you kind of figured out the trick to the game,
you mastered it.
Yeah, it took time, and it goes right into replayability. If you go back to those NES games, of course you know exactly, you play it enough times and you know where every single Goomba is going to come from. They're on that same track, that they come at that exact same spot, and you can blindly jump over them because you know that they're about to appear on the screen as you're running across it. Nowadays, it's a good thing for the industry, but it's bad for people that want to challenge. Is they're trying to spread their wings and be available to as many people at one time as possible. And because of that, games have become significantly easier. Even a modern first-person shooter, you could play it on easy, and the AI is so ridiculously dumb. You're a bullet sponge. You could. It's so easy to kill everything. It's just, you could turn up the difficulty, but there wasn't difficulties back in the day. Everything was just hard. That's it. And I think a lot of the games lose their long-lasting appeal because of how easy they are. What happened?
Goblins and ghosts and go. Oh, I hated those. How fucking ridiculously hard they were.
But it used to feel like a sense of accomplishment.
Totally.
Back then. Now all you gotta do is turn down the difficulty, and somebody who has just basic controller skills can beat anything as long as they turn the difficulty down low.
I'm going to agree with you. I'm going to throw out an example. I mentioned that I played in Injustice this week. And going back, and I'm going to use Mortal Kombat as a comparison. That's the best comparison that you can get for it, even though it's not like it. You'd get to Goro or Shao Kahn or whoever, and they would beat the living shit out of you. You die over and over and over. And I understand in arcades that was meant, as a quarter grab and whatnot. But literally, spoilers, the final boss of Injustice is Superman. Okay, big surprise there. He beat me once. The computer then scaled down the difficulty for me. So then So then when I played him again, it was easier for me to beat him.
Is that the new one?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you get stuck in...
Now that's the story mode. That's not the actual battle mode.
It sounds like if you get stuck, you could just put your controller down on the couch, get your ass kicked until it drops the difficulty low enough where you could just mash A few times and win.
That's what it felt like. Now, is that 100% true? I don't know. Maybe that was the old fighting game guy in me that came back out, where I just was watching and reacting to him a little bit better since that was the first time I fought him. But it really felt like the game scaled down for me, like it made him just a half second slower and a little bit dumber.
So I look back to probably the greatest, in my opinion, the greatest fighting game of all time, Mortal Kombat 2. And I remember getting pummeled for months. By not Goro. What was his brother's name? Kintaro. Before I got to go face Shang Tsung.
Shang Kahn.
Yeah, I forgot all their names. But and back then there was no save. There was no saving your progress. You'd have to beat the entire skill tree. And if Kintaro beat the shit out of you a few times, that was it.
If you didn't have a quarter to drop in or continue or whatever.
Well, I'm talking about on the Genesis.
Yeah.
And you had to restart. That was it. You turned off your Genesis and you tried again tomorrow. Mm-hmm. And that's how it was. You didn't save because you couldn't beat the fight. And then the boss would lower his difficulty to make the game easier for you. That's something that modern games really, I understand why they do it, but...
Speaking of modern games and so on and so forth, Nick Kuntz asked, he said, do you think next-gen games will take on more of an MMO style? And if so, is that something that would appeal to you?
I think we can see maybe bigger matches, potentially, but I don't see them being anything above maybe 64 and then the occasional actual MMO or the random mag that'll come out every once in a while.
Well, what is it? Destiny is technically an always-on MMO,
technically,
first-person shooter,
yeah, that's what I mean. You have
Star Wars piece of crap.
Plus Halo.
Yeah,
I think you're getting closer and closer to it. I think there's going to be even the current gen systems, as Mark had just said. Mag did it. Mag has 256 people simultaneously on one map fighting each other. That's a lot of PS3s hooked up together to create a map. No other console games even come close to replicating it, even though it's 4 years old now at this point.
Here's my... I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
My fear is kind of what I experienced this past winter, is if they do tend to become more of a quote-unquote MMO style, and the games do require you to play online and so on and so forth, when they turn those servers off, you can't play that game then. City of Heroes did it. Destiny, at some point, they will turn the servers off, and that game will then be rendered useless.
Mag, if they ever shut the servers down, which I'm surprised they haven't yet because Zipper went under, but Sony's kept the servers open. There's no single-player campaign. There's no offline mode.
Yeah.
If you can't with SOCOM Confrontation, yeah, that's the other one. No single player at all.
And I have a huge problem with investing time and money and microtransactions and DLC and so on and so forth into my games to 5, 6, 7, even 10, 15 years later have you turn my game off and render everything that I've worked for, paid for, and spent my time on useless.
Mm-hmm.
A month they announced World of Warcraft's going offline, I don't care where I'm at, I'm buying a 1 month card just because.
You have to.
I have
see
to.
it shut down.
Yeah, because I spent so much, thousands of hours on it. I'd have to say.
In the future, I don't think everything's going the way of MMO, or even if you don't want to have it directly be called an MMO, even if they're just using enough people for a massively multiplayer online game. If Battlefield finally can support the 64 people on a console, that's a lot more than it can currently. So
They'll finally catch up to PC technology from 2001.
So, even if every game doesn't specifically become an MMO, I think certain games can, with the new console, become a lot more MMO-ish.
Actually, it's been from before 2001. I'm just saying Battlefield 1942 had 64-player servers in 2001.
MAG, 256.
Yeah, I know.
256.
Well, I mean, hey, you got Counter-Strike has 128 servers since 2000, later 2000s, like 8, maybe 7, 9, 22, 6.
As always,
7 or Frank Sinatra.
You can like us on Facebook, which you can find us at facebook.com/Forward Compatible Podcast. You can follow us on Twitter at FCompatible. I almost always say FC Compatible. I don't know why.
It was taken.
You can like, comment, and share us on YouTube. YouTube.com/Forward Compatible. We are also available on iTunes and Stitcher. Make sure to leave us some feedback on those. And if you don't have any of those outlets whatsoever, you can email us at...
I was going to say, how are you listening?
forwardcompatiblepodcast@gmail.com.
Excellent.
We're being redirected to New North Korea or something, I think.
This is where we're going to switch over to part 2. But before we do, we want to let everybody know we're going to be bringing back the 8-bit song of the week. So it's going to be a short little song clip, and then if you can guess what the song is, we'll give you a shout out next week.
And a cookie.
Not on part 2, next week.
Cookie.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, this has been episode 63, part 1. Tune in next week, same time, same place.
Part 1's always fun.